That person keeps appearing in your dreams, and you have been calling it random. It is not random. God has been trying to show you at night what this person has been doing to your life during the day, and what they have been doing is more deliberate than you are ready to hear. You have been faithful, consistent, pressing forward, but something in your life has been quietly dismantling the progress, and you have not been able to identify the source, the relationships that shifted, the opportunities that dissolved, the version of yourself that has been slowly disappearing without a single dramatic incident to explain it. You searched for the source in your circumstances, in your decisions, in yourself. God has been showing you the source every night, in your dreams, through the face of someone you know. 4 warnings God is sending through that recurring dream about the same person. The 4th warning is the one that will change everything, because it reveals what was coming for your life, and what God interrupted by sending you this dream before it arrived. Warning 1. The dream is not a dream, it is a courtroom. You have been treating it as a dream. God has been using it as evidence. Every time that person appears in your sleep, God is not sending you a random image. He is summoning you into a courtroom in the spirit and presenting you with a witness, the same witness, night after night. Because the case he is building against what this person has been doing to your life requires you to see it with your own eyes before you will believe it with your own faith. The dream keeps recurring because you keep dismissing the verdict. Here is what the dream has been telling you in a language your waking mind has been too trusting to receive. The person appearing in your dream is not there because your subconscious is processing a relationship. They are there because their spirit has been actively operating against yours. And God is making the invisible visible in the only environment where your defenses are low enough to receive what your loyalty has been too strong to accept while awake. Dreams in Scripture were never random. They were always precise, always purposeful, always carrying information the recipient needed but could not access through natural means. In Genesis 37, Joseph's dreams were not about his brothers in the way his brothers assumed. They were about an assignment on Joseph's life that his brothers were actively positioned to prevent. God showed Joseph the assignment in the dream, not to frighten him, but to prepare him for the attack that was already being planned in the natural while he slept. The person in your dream is not a symbol. They are a subject. God is not showing you how you feel about them. He is showing you what they have been doing, and summoning you as a witness to your own case. The question is no longer why you keep dreaming about them. The question is, what verdict have you been refusing to receive? Warning number 2. While you slept, they were working against your external world. This is where the dream becomes your everyday life. Think about the opportunities that were within reach and dissolved before you could establish them. The doors that were confirmed open and closed overnight without explanation. The relationships that were solid and began fracturing without a single dramatic incident. You searched for a natural explanation for every one of them. The explanation is not natural. While you have been sleeping, this person has been operating against the external architecture of your life, not through obvious sabotage, through spiritual influence that moves through your environment like a current, redirecting what was flowing toward you, closing what was opening for you, and turning atmospheres that were aligned with your destiny into atmospheres of resistance before you ever walked into them. You arrived to every closed door after it had already been closed. You reached every dissolved opportunity after it had already been dissolved. You entered every fractured relationship after the fracture had already been made. Because the work was done in the spirit, while you were asleep, before you ever saw the natural consequence. In 1 Samuel 18, Saul did not attack David openly at first. He operated through influence, through positioning, through the strategic redirection of relationships, opportunities, and environments around David, until the world David moved through was quietly working against him without David being able to point to a single visible act of aggression. The attack was architectural, operating in the spaces between the visible moments David could track. The closed doors in your life are not coincidence. The dissolved opportunities are not bad timing. The fractured relationships are not your fault. Someone has been working against the external architecture of your life, and God has been showing you their face every night because He needs you to stop explaining away the evidence He keeps presenting. Warning number 3. While you slept, they were working against your internal world. This warning is more intimate than the last, because what this person has been doing to the world around you is visible, even if you have been misreading it. But what they have been doing to the world inside you has been happening so gradually and so quietly that you have been mistaking the damage for your own spiritual condition. Think about your faith at the beginning of this season compared to your faith today. The boldness that has become cautious, the certainty that has become complicated, the specific declarations you were making 6 months ago that you are no longer making at the same size or the same frequency. The version of yourself that once moved toward God's promises without needing every variable resolved, replaced by a version that waits, qualifies, and hesitates at every threshold. You have been calling this a dry season, a test of faith, spiritual maturity developing through difficulty. It is erosion, deliberate, targeted erosion of the internal world your destiny was built to operate from. Because your destiny does not just require the right external circumstances to arrive, it requires a specific internal version of you to receive it, a version with enough boldness to step into it, enough certainty to sustain it, enough faith to carry it at full weight when it lands. This person has been reducing that version of you one encounter at a time, through what they speak into your atmosphere, through what they introduce into your thinking, through the subtle but consistent reframing of who you are and what God promised you that happens every time their influence reaches your internal world. In Luke 22, before Peter's most significant night of destiny, Jesus told him directly, "Satan has desired to sift you as wheat." The sifting was not external, it was internal, targeting the specific quality of Peter's faith that his destiny required him to have at full strength. And the instrument of the sifting was not a stranger. It was access, intimate, trusted, close access to Peter's internal world. The person in your dream has had access to your internal world, and they have been using that access while you trusted them with it. The boldness you lost was not lost to a season. It was taken, one encounter at a time, by someone God has been showing you in your sleep, because he could not get you to see it while you were awake. If these 3 warnings have been describing your life, type, "I see it now," in the comments right now. Not in fear, in clarity. Because the moment you see what has been operating against you, it loses the darkness it has been hiding in. Type it, "Stay." Because the 4th warning is the one that will make you understand exactly why God sent this dream when he did, and what he prevented by sending it before it was too late. Warning 4. This is what was coming for your life if God had not sent the dream. This is the warning that changes everything. God did not send you this dream as a general spiritual heads up. He sent it with urgency, with repetition. What was approaching was not another closed door, not another dissolved opportunity, not another season of erosion. It was a point of no return. Every attack has a timeline. The internal erosion of the version of you your destiny requires. These were not random acts of spiritual interference. They were building toward a specific moment, a threshold in your destiny where the accumulated damage would have been enough to make what God promised you feel permanently out of reach. Not delayed, finished. The moment where the gap between who you had been reduced to and who your destiny required you to be became too wide to cross in a single act of faith. That moment was closer than you know. And God sent the dream, repeatedly, insistently, with the same face every time, because he needed you to identify the source of the dismantling before you arrived at that threshold without the internal resources to cross it. The dream was not a warning about the person. It was a rescue operation for your destiny. In the book of Esther, Mordecai did not discover Haman's plot through natural intelligence. The exposure came through a specific sequence of divine intervention, culminating in a sleepless night where the king was led to read records that surfaced the exact information needed to reverse what had already been set in motion against God's people. God used the night to expose what the day had been concealing, and the exposure came at the exact moment the plot was closest to its completion. Your dream came at the exact moment the plot against your life was closest to its completion. God interrupted it, not with a dramatic visible intervention, with a face appearing in your sleep, night after night, until you finally stayed long enough to hear what he was saying through it. Pray this out loud right now. I thank you, God, for every dream you sent me about this person. I receive the exposure. I receive the warning. I declare every hidden attack against my external world reversed now. Every erosion of my internal world restored now. Every plan that was building toward a point of no return in my destiny dismantled now at the root. And I declare that the destiny this attack was trying to reach before I could is still mine, completely. Here's what you do immediately. Warning 1. The next time you dream about this person, do not dismiss it when you wake. Write down everything you saw, every detail. Then sit before God and ask Him to interpret what He was showing you. What He reveals in the interpretation will be more specific and more actionable than anything you received in the dream itself. God does not send recurring dreams without a recurring message. Ask for the message. Warning 2. Write down the last 3 external things that dissolved, closed, or fractured in this season without a clear natural explanation. Then ask God to show you the spiritual connection between those moments and this person's influence in your life. What He surfaces will show you the specific doors the attack entered through, and give your prayer a precise target rather than a general one. Warning 3. Identify the specific quality of faith, boldness, or certainty you carried 6 months ago that you are no longer carrying at the same size today. That reduction is the measure of the internal erosion. Pray specifically for the restoration of that exact quality. Warning 4. Pray the declaration from this warning every morning for 7 consecutive days. Not because the single declaration was insufficient, but because 7 consecutive mornings of declaring what God interrupted builds a spiritual covering over the threshold the attack was approaching. What is covered before the enemy can reach it cannot be used against you. What you receive today is not just a warning. It is a divine rescue map, showing you exactly what the dream meant, what the attack has been doing, and what God interrupted before it could complete its work against your life. The free guide in the description goes deeper. Prayers for receiving the full interpretation of every dream God has sent you. Free in the description. Use it today, because the attack's first move after God exposes it is always to create an urgent reason to re-enter the access point before the declaration has had time to establish what God just interrupted. Do not re-enter before the declaration establishes. Type, "I see it now," in the comments. Then find one person who typed it and leave them one sentence of prayer. Because the most painful part of what this video described is that you were faithful through all of it. You kept praying. You kept believing, and the progress kept dismantling anyway, in ways you could not explain and could not stop because you could not see the source. God saw it. He sent you the dream. Subscribe. That person kept appearing in your dreams because your destiny was worth God interrupting your sleep to protect it. Now you know. And what you know, the attack can no longer hide behind.